Hi all, this is a game I played last night for Barnet Chess Club against Colin Ramage of Barking Chess Club. I was the driver for this match, so we got there quite promptly going across London. As you can probably hear, I've got a slight cold, so that excuses, in my mind, my quite feeble play in this game. I chose the French defence, and after d4, d5, he played bishop e3, which I wasn't so scared about, because you don't have to accept the gambit pawn here with d takes e4. You can just play knight f6 to try and transpose it into a comfortable French defence line. He played knight d2, and I thought, well, just play c5 here. It's okay if he tries to grab the pawn and hold on to it, because I'll quite like the knight c6 and d4s. I'll just try and get control of the d4 square. Anyway, so he plays e5, and after knight fd7, I was pleased with my position here. And after knight gf3, I wonder though that if I play knight c6 here, I wondered if he's just got c3 with a comfortable position, and he's got away with his strange move order. I didn't really see a very nice plan for black here, and so I considered quite a lot just an immediate capture on d4. Because his bishop has to take quite awkwardly, I thought, to capture back on d4. And actually this is the move which Ribka likes as well in this position, just c takes d4 here. So maybe, it was a good move. After bishop takes d4, knight c6, and now he plays knight b3. So he seems to be using an old Nimzovitchian revolutionary concept of giving away his actual pawn occupation in the centre to replace it with piece control. So his pieces are all controlling still these two critical squares in the centre, and he's even offering the bishop. I didn't really want to simplify on d4, but I was tempted to. Maybe here it's better for black to sort of keep the tension in the position and keep the position as complex as possible with, say, bishop e7 or a6. Anyway, I took on d4, and after knight takes d4, knight b takes d4, I play queen b6, and was still quite pleased with my position. Actually, let's have a quick look. Instead of knight takes d4, actually queen takes d4 might have been possible, because Ribka thinks that's a nice move with a slight advantage for white. And it would still be Nimzovitchian idea of this putting pressure on the centre with pieces rather than pawn occupation. That seems quite playable, actually. But anyway, he played knight takes d4, which allows this quite comfortable queen b6 with nice pressure on that d4 square quite naturally. And he retreats his knight again, so he's moving that knight quite a lot of times in the opening. So I thought I'd further harass it, but I had a slight illusion here that if I play a5, I thought for some reason that a4, bishop b4 check, he couldn't play c3 because of bishop takes, but of course he can, because the queen is protecting the knight. So after a5, bishop b4 check is just a hopeless waste of time. So, and also I just realised I've just weakened the b5 square here. So this a5 move was a bit of a poor move, I think. In fact, there was a much better move, more dynamic, available here. Perhaps g5, just trying to undermine this e5 pawn. If white takes, then black will have a lot of pawns in the centre. Let's say knight takes g5, knight takes e5, and Ribka thinks black's significantly better here. The central pawns give black an edge in the end games. So let's have a look at this though. If say h3, then bishop g7, so that g5 would have been dual purpose, so adding more pressure quite naturally to the e5 pawn. And if queen e2 here, then h5. So it looks crazy, but it's quite logical. White's awkwardly defending this e5 pawn. So actually, I had briefly considered g5, but not the follow-up of bishop g7. So I ended up playing this feeble a5 plan instead. And I play knight c5 now because I have this other idea that I can provoke white into this check variation to exchange off my bad light squared bishop here, which he was happy to dislodge my king and simplify. He joked about playing 3 checks in a row, and I had a bit of a giggle there, so I wasn't in such a serious frame of mind in this game. After rook ad8, queen d3, I think he was also a bit annoyed because one of his teammates had got the wrong day of the week, so they had suffered a loss by default on one of the boards. It was only a 6-board match, so he was quite annoyed by this stage and not really caring about this game too much, which was good because after king c7 I had this idea that I might be in trouble on the queen side here. After rook ab1, White's all of a sudden got a natural plan of c3 and b4 here. Anyway, I played king b8, hoping that I can at least get some pressure on the c file if that occurred. So c3, and I thought, yep, I'm a sitting target now on the queen side. He's got this b4 plan. But to my surprise, after rook c8, he just played actually knight d2 here. He didn't go for this b4. So knight d2, I was quite relieved, because I thought, I can attack that e5 pawn with the queen, and maybe f6 later. But he played rook fe1, and actually offered the draw, accompanying his draw offer with an offer to buy a drink at the pub. So I really didn't like my position that much here, and I was actually quite thirsty because their pub, their bar had been closed because of lack of interest, so we couldn't get drinks at their venue. So I was actually quite thirsty, and I'm sorry, fans, but I accepted the draw offer here. I know it's a rather pathetic game, and I should have played g5 earlier instead of a5. And in fact, I'm only video blogging it because David Hotham of Barnet Chess Club reckons I should blog all my games, even my losses. So here it is. This is the game on the night, and some of the reasons why it was like it was. So let's have a look, overview and summary at this dull game with missed opportunities. So French defence, I didn't want to accept his gambit. I thought I had a comfortable position here, with c takes d4 being to stop him playing c3 with a nice pawn chain. But maybe, I could have played a lot more dynamically in the game continuation. Mind you, I think queen takes d4 is better than what he played. So knight takes d4, I think he gave me a slight edge here again with his queen b6. So here's the dynamic possibility. g5 here would have been a very interesting game. Keeping the pieces on. The way I played it, it just exchanged off a lot of pieces, after which there was very little winning chances. I think one of the things about trying to win, if you want to try and win all your games, I think if we learn from Kasparov, we try and keep the tension in the position, the pieces on, the complexity, because there's a lot more room for severe errors for both sides, so you get a lot more winning chances. The way this simplified out is, there's hardly any room for major errors for White. It's quite simple to play. He's got a very simple plan, maybe of b4, which he didn't do. This strange knight retreat to d2. So after rook fe1, rook f4, I was just tiny advantage to black only. So really, there isn't much in the position here anyway. So anyway, if there's anything instructive from that, that's good. Please leave any comments on YouTube. Thanks very much.